In chapter 1183, Mrs. Lewis implores her son Duncan to visit the family for dinner, pointing out that Liberty has made delectable fare. Duncan tells his mother to eat with Lily and he can't go back for dinner because he was not done with work yet. His mom was persistent to let him go home, but he directly declines, saying he has already eaten. As Mrs. Lewis tries to set up occasions for Duncan to meet Lily, whom she thinks would be a good match for him, she grows irritated. Duncan doesn't seem to be interested in pursuing a romantic connection despite her best attempts. Mrs. Lewis tells Lily how much she likes her and invites her to stay longer to keep her company. Duncan, though, notes that Lily must go back home because she has professional commitments as well. In order to give Mrs. Lewis a break and the chance to catch up with an old acquaintance, he suggests that she travel with Lily to visit her mother. Mrs. Lewis becomes enraged by this statement and hangs up the phone after concluding that Duncan is not interested in continuing to date Lily. Mrs. Lewis is frustrated and she complains to Mr. Lewis about Duncan's haughtiness and lack of interest in a remarkable woman like Lily. She wonders if he plans to live the rest of his life single. Duncan is no longer a youngster and has his own opinions, so Mr. Lewis tells her to quit fretting and let him make his own decisions. Duncan's age worries Mrs. Lewis, who emphasizes that he is approaching late 30s and is still single. She contrasts him with other men in their group who have fathered children and emphasizes the fact that he is the only single man among his contemporaries. Mrs. Lewis remembers Julian Buckham, who is also single, but she ignores the parallel in favor of Duncan's age and her concerns about his single status. Mr. Lewis speculates that Duncan might only get married when he meets someone who can actually alter him, taking into account Duncan's cautious approach to relationships and his trouble understanding women. Mrs. Lewis suggests having a party and inviting Witherspoon-suitable young women so Duncan can make his choice. Duncan already knows the majority of the women in town, says Mr. Lewis, and if he were interested, he would have approached them sooner. Given Duncan's knowledge with the local women, he questions the necessity of a blind date party. With her expression of sadness, Mrs. Lewis makes it clear that she had high hopes for her prospective daughter-in-law. She appears committed to finding Duncan a compatible partner and is hesitant to let fate decide Duncan's romantic life.